performance and obviously raised the bar in many ways. Do you see this one being as close?
No, I think I can see Darren being quite a comfortable winner, to be honest. I think he has to be a big favourite in this match, so I can't really see past Darren winning.
OK, well, it's Darren Appleton, who's never actually won the World Championships, up against Carl Morris, who has won one title. And in terms of the semi-finals, well, as we said, we've already seen one good match. Mark Selby 10-5 over Chris Melling. Good match that. Let's hope the next one lives up to the same expectation. But it is going to be interesting because Darren Appleton and Carl Morris know each other's game well. Question is, who's going to win it? And I'll go back again to Gareth. Carl Morris hasn't been playing as much 8-ball pool, but he's obviously a good player, Houdini as we call him. And we saw in his quarterfinals, he's still got all the tricks in his box, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He's not been playing as much 8-ball as probably the rest of us. He's going to play the American 8-ball. But, you know, he's still a good player. He's still got a very good pool brain. You know, but as for the gamesmanship, if you like, that he did in his last match, I mean, I don't think that's going to work against Darren. I think he's too experienced for that, and he'll be able to blank that out.
OK, let's take a closer look at Carl Morris, because he's an interesting character. Believe it or not, completely deaf, and still manages to play this game with 2-minute warnings, with no real indication of what the feeling is going on in terms of the atmosphere in the crowd. But he plays on, and he's already been a world champion at it. Phil Harrison, Sonny Singh he beat, and Tom Ford 9-7. That was an interesting matchup in the quarterfinal we just mentioned there. And unseeded, though. Are you surprised that he's unseeded, Gareth?
Well, a little bit, but the problem with that is he's out of the England team now. So he's not going to accumulate his points through that to get seeded through to the last 64. So he's had to come through the qualifiers, you know, the same as everybody else.
As for Darren Appleton, well, another good competitor, and last time he got this close, he broke his cue. He was so mad that he didn't make it through, and he's had a good run this time, including an excellent victory over Jason Twist. Really excited about that win, because obviously Jason has been there and got the T-shirt, but he hasn't, as Darren Appleton, and the number seed 6 has got a great opportunity tonight. He knows Carl Morris really well in terms of his playing against each other so many times. They're relatively good friends, but that's not going to count for much now in a semi-final stages, is it?
Not at all. You know, Darren is going to want to win this match, you know, as much as anybody. I think, like I say, he's a big favourite, and like I say, I can't really see it going any other way than Darren.
All right, well, fair enough. That's what's happening here in Blackpool, but the players now are about to come on. So let's introduce our commentary team tonight of Sean Baker, Lee Kendall and Jim Weish. But first of all, it's Scott and Dave.
Ladies and gents, we do need it.
Yeah, go.
Right then, ladies and gents, welcome here tonight to your semi-final. Introducing first, ladies and gents, he's reached 4 quarter-finals in the past 6 years, and this year he's hoping to go all the way. The 1998 champion, please a big round of applause for Carl Morris!
His opponent today, ladies and gents, was a runner-up in 2004. He's one of the game's most explosive players. It's the dynamite man that is Darren Appleton.
Darren Appleton, a terrific campaigner, seasoned veteran. The only title that has eluded him, the one he seeks here. The ImproveYourPool.com World 8-Ball Championship. And the road bump in his way, Carl Morris, winner in 1998. And it's the men in black to lag to see who is going to break in the opening frame. And it looks like it's going to be Carl Morris, is it? Is it? Well, I don't want to live on the difference here. Maybe just Appleton. Oh, this will be good. If this is any indication of the way this match is going to go. Keep your hands in your pockets. It is just Carl Morris. So here we go. It's a race to 10, best of 19, to see who will oppose Mark Selby in the 2006 final.
First frame, Carl Morris to break.
Along with me, the chairman of the English Pool and Referees Association, Sean Baker. And Sean, here we go. This is a familiar scene, isn't it?
Well, this is exactly what we saw Carl doing in his quarter-final match previously, and it's unusual though. Melvin's re-wrapped the balls there, and he's not actually gone and had another look at them.
Frame number 1. Morris was so successful from the middle of the table breaking in his quarterfinal match, and he enjoys the same success. I'm going to bring in our third commentator here for the semifinal, Lee Kendall, the English captain. Lee, Carl's not going to employ any funny tactics in this match, is he? They just won't get through.
Well, he's going to try. He's a laugh and a joke at the start of the match, but to put Darren Appleton off, he's going to have to do well.
Morris with the first look in.
Yellow ball's in play.
Yeah, and he's nominated the yellows there, Jim. He's got a quite easy finish as well on the yellow balls. All the reds are out of the way, just a matter of controlling that cue ball, which he hasn't done first shot. Now he needs a little bit of a gap in between the cue ball and the yellow ball. He's very lucky if he has landed on that shot, isn't he?
Well, one thing about it, Carl won't hide his emotions, eh, Sean?
No, he's certainly a player who wears his heart on his sleeve, and if things aren't going for him, you'll see the full roundup of gestures and the arm waving and the faces. We'll see them all, I'm sure, in this semi-final.
Yeah, he ran out of position on his first shot there, so he just needs to get himself in check again now and pick his route. When the reds are in the way, in the sense that they're all in the middle of the table, but there's enough room to negotiate the cue ball in and out those reds without any difficulty, really.
He's won 7 matches
30
en
seconds.
route to the semi-final. Had a terrific win in the quarters. A gut-wrenching 9-7. Held his nerve, didn't he, over Tom Ford?
Yeah, he's just had a look up at the clock there. I think most people who know have watched this game before on Sky will know that Carl Morris is actually deaf, so he can't hear the audible 30-second warning from the timekeeper. But there is a digital clock up there that he can look up at and see exactly how long has gone by.
Certainly 8-ball pool, no different than in any other cue sport. You've got to believe that you're the man and that you can win any match regardless of your opposition.
He's awfully close to that yellow ball there with his bridge hand. Well, that was a terrible shot. He just let the cue ball fly, really. Didn't really pick a point on the table where he wanted to put the cue ball. It's a terrible shot.
Well, Lee, I'm not sure that he had to do this. I mean, the 2 yellows were in the open. Why he had to take a mighty flail like that? You know, a lot of times nerves will manifest themselves in different manners. Not always a miss. Sometimes it's a bit of a brain cramp, and I feel that's what happened to Carl Morris there.
Yeah, he's elected to put the yellow ball on top of the 8-ball to try and block that, but
you just know that Darren would love to steal this one against Carl Morris's break as well.
And what he will be pleased with, he's seen Carl there with a relatively easy finish, and the cue ball was never under control on any shot.
You know, it was also very noticeable in Darren Appleton's quarterfinal against Jason Twist. He was shaking his head. He was in front of the match, and when things didn't go right, he let his emotions get the better of him. I wonder if he's going to try and keep those in check in this match.
Yeah, definitely, because he knows he's a big favourite to win this match and get his second chance to win the world title.
30 seconds.
The place is a final, what he's playing for now. So he doesn't want to do anything silly. He just needs to make sure he punishes that mistake from Morris.
Looking for the angle. I wonder if he can play this off the yellow nearest the black.
Well, it's a brave shot, because if he does do that and it doesn't go into the pocket, I can't see the red staying over the pocket and leave the game on for Carl Morris. But you know, it's a well-makeable shot, though, isn't it?
It would be a frame winner, but it takes a lot of courage to play it.
I mean, there's no reason why he couldn't promote the red towards that
30
pocket and
seconds.
move the yellow away if he wanted. He has Carl Morris and lots of trouble if he does that. So we just see how confident Darren feels that he can play this in off the yellow, or whether he decides to just roll it over the pocket. And that's what he's played. That's the sensible shot at this stage of the match.
The crowd certainly thinks so.
So the first tactical shot really was played by Darren Appleton, and we thought Morris would be the tactical player in this match.
You see what he's doing there, he's just weighing up. He's going to play the deliberate foul, but what he doesn't want to do is make sure that he blocks off that red that you can see up the other end of the table, so he doesn't leave a foul snooker.
I think that's a wrong
Foul,
shot.
2 visits.
Darren Appleton's too good a player to give 2 shots in this position. One good pot, he wins a frame. It would have been far better putting the yellow on top of the red. So the first test for Appleton, a long red into the top right.
Second visit now, but certainly, Lee, that's what Carl Morris was banking on, that Appleton wouldn't knock that long red in.
Yeah, and he was right. And that can only be because it's early on in the match and he hasn't settled so far. But he's still in control. So he's just having a little shake of the head and work out the next plan. I don't think it'll be attack, it'll be some sort of safety shot.
30 seconds.
Hiding the cue ball. And he's going to play the cue ball over to the top corner behind the red. It's a good shot, he's hidden the open yellow, that's the main thing. Trying to force Carl Morris to open the 8-ball up for him.
Carl's other option obviously here is to try and come off the rail and play the open yellow, the one that he's snookered on, and leave the yellow and the black together.
But he has to hit a cushion, Sean, after that. If he comes off the side cushion, he must contact a rail after hitting the yellow
seconds.
ball.
Yeah, guaranteed he's got to be going for the open yellow here, Lee.
Yeah, he's not totally snooker, so he just needs to drive to the cushion. I'm sure he'll play with enough speed. And Darren will be very happy with that. See what he's done, he's played with his side there, and he's overhit the shot and flipped the yellow to the side where the 8-ball is, so Darren's under no pressure now. He knows if Carl plays into the yellows, he's going to promote the 8-ball, so total control for Appleton.
And with the first frame obviously taking a lot longer than we would have expected, does this play into Carl's hands?
Well, not where the balls are positioned. I mean, if it was a long tactical frame, it would help.
I mean, more a chance to settle in. Would it take him longer to settle into the match, Lee?
Yeah, that's a fair point. It would take him longer.
Timeout.
That's a very good point. But
He's played a very good shot there. You think he might have left a total snooker. Not quite sure from that angle. I think he might just be able to see it. See, you're going to see referee Melvin Harley here. He's going to use a cue ball now, and what he's trying to do, he's trying to judge between the 2 cue balls and then extend it out to the yellow. And you see he's just moving it in line so the cue ball will just past. It isn't...
he hasn't got it spot on.
Not a total snooker.
Well, yeah, and
Time running.
you notice there he didn't actually use a spotted cue ball, but they are the same size, so there's not a problem. It's just the weight that's the difference in the ball, not the size.
So he's left him an open table. He's opened the 8-ball, as I said last time. So Darren's shot was a good attacking shot. I know it was a safety, but it was an attacking safety because he left him the red over the centre.
But Darren really has to go game here because also he's matured his 2 yellows as Carl Morris. So.
But there can be no excuses for Darren here. All the reds in the open. Can only be nerves if he falls out of position. He's got plenty of room to negotiate the cue ball.
But funny things can happen, Lee.
Yeah.
To be honest, he played a bad shot on the one into the middle, Lee, the very first shot of this visit. Got out of position straight away, and he's had to try and do a lot more with the cue ball there than he needed to have done.
Yeah, he hasn't settled yet. He'll be a little bit annoyed because he knows now that he's given Carl a glimmer of hope in this frame where he should have been dead and buried.
And I also have the sense that the last thing Darren will want to do is show any negative emotion to Carl Morris, because he'll be able to play on that.
Yeah, and this is a big shot for Darren.
That's as good a way as any to retrieve the situation.
Yep, it's a very good shot. Just got a little clip into the corner. So there's a great opportunity here to put the first frame on the board for Darren Appleton.
And a tricky 8 with a lot of green bays to negotiate between the cue ball and the 8. No danger. Darren Appleton slots the 8 in, opens his account here in the semifinal. A race to 10, and Appleton leads 1-0.
And did you notice there with Darren, he licks his tongue out. There isn't many players on the circuit that play with the tongue out, but it's a little trait that he's just brought into his game.
And so
Third
are
frame,
we.
Carl Morris to break, trailing 2 frames to 0.
Frame number 3. Appleton has taken the first 2 in a turtle-like fashion. A lot of tactics, but it's on the score sheet. And Morris breaks in number 3. And
Foul.
there, another indication. Things are starting to go Darren Appleton's way.
1 visit, open table.
Well, it's 3
Time
frames, and 3 times Carl's made a mistake. He's had 2 goes at finishes, and that time he let the cue ball go. And against Darren Appleton, he is going to get punished.
We see again here, break-off shot, and classic mistake there, Lee, is that losing that cue ball into the middle pocket. I mean, that is a mistake. It's not a bit of bad luck or anything like that. It's not been knocked in, it's gone straight in, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's a problem with putting the cue ball in the middle of the table. You only need to catch the head ball to one side, and you can go off that middle quite easy. From the side, it's a bit harder.
Seconds.
Well, certainly, yellow's awkward, given the 2 nearest the bottom left. Reds, well, he's got that red at the top end of the table, and that's one that's going to need to be matured.
Red ball's in play.
And really, that's the only difficult red, Lee.
Yeah, the Itez is... He can play the negative shot like the match has been so far and put the red over the bottom right-hand corner, but I'm sure Darren will want to get his arm flowing at some point in this match.
Yeah, I think he's looking there. That red will go past that yellow. He might just play it off the yellow, just a fraction, flick the yellow out and free that pocket up for that red down the left-hand rail.
No, I don't think he'll play that. It's too dangerous. He could end up missing the pot. There's no reason why he can't take the red up into the top left-hand corner, though.
He's played a horrible shot. He snookered himself on the red that he intended.
Touching ball.
Yeah, he's actually touching the black, the cue ball.
Well, that's a terrible shot, as you said, Jim. It's really no excuse for that.
Well, as you know, in this game, when the cue ball's touching the ball, you've got to play away from it. If it's your own ball, then you're deemed to have played it, and all you need to do is contact a cushion.
30 seconds.
Or pot a ball, and that's a legal shot. But if it's an opponent's ball, the black in this case, you must play away from it so it doesn't move. Otherwise, it would be a foul. And of course, in that case, you'd have to then contact one of your own balls and make a ball at a cushion or pocket one.
So he's got an easy 1 cushion shot, and the 8 ball's
Look at the
close.
8. Oh, that would have been loss of frame.
Yellow ball's in play.
That close. And he hasn't done too badly, has he?
He hasn't, no, but I bet his heart was in his mouth for a second then. He's just locked him in behind his other ball.
Snooker.
So it's just a question whether he can get through off the bottom rail. It doesn't look like he can, so he's going to come off the side cushion. Again, he doesn't need to hit a rail because he is totally snookered. So you could just roll on this ball if you so wanted. So Carl's got the option of covering the bottom left-hand corner if he wanted, knowing that he's got a red sandwich between the bottom rail with each yellow.
Well, the way this is starting to look, Lee, unlike you, they don't have a table booked for dinner.
Yeah, I'll have to go have a word with him, I think. But it's nothing like the first semi-final, is it? That was free-flowing.
Brilliant stuff. I mean, Mark Selby certainly put out a statement. It'll take some beating as Selby.
And as we've seen, he's in the audience. He'll be happy seeing what's going on here. And Carl will be quite happy with that. He's got control of that pocket. The two yellows nearest the cue ball are blocking the red into the other pocket. But Darren keeps winning these type of frames, so, you know, he's not totally dead.
30 seconds.
So Darren's taking the red into the centre. I'll probably roll the red over this bottom right hand corner now.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's made sure he's got the goal side, as you say, where he's got the two yellows. So Cole's going to try and put the yellow in front of the red. I think there's just enough room. There you go. Bump the red along the rail. And yet again he's in control of the frame. So he doesn't need to worry about going game just yet. He just wants to take control, wrestle control of the frame, then he can develop his balls. He knows he's got Darren Appleton in all sorts of trouble. But this is one part of pool. You see it played in all your pubs and clubs, and you see lots of players having these tactical frames. You just don't normally see it on the TV.
Well, the players are so gifted, and they pot with such fluency that usually when the game presents itself, the chance to go game, they rarely fail. But well, as I see the 8 tracking towards the middle, we've come to expect this a little bit from Morris. We've seen a lot of Carl in the past, and this is not foreign territory for him.
Yeah, I don't really understand that shot that Darren's just played. I know he probably thought I'd get the 8 out into the open and try and kill the 8 ball at a later stage in the frame, but he could have quite easily knocked it in one of the middles out.
And not only that, that cue ball finished very close to that yellow that's over the left-hand corner pocket. Could have quite easily knocked that in, Lee, and given the 2 visits away.
Yeah, he is in all sorts of trouble, though. I mean, he's got the option here. He could play the red on the bottom cushion and screw the cue ball across and develop that area and try and develop the red over the pocket. Or he could play the cue ball down and plant it over, get right behind it, which he's done. Same thing. Promote the red over towards the pocket now. Try and get a little bit of control. I don't think he can get the pocket totally. Well, he's just played a nothing shot there. He just left the frame for Carl Morris.
Just seemed to throw his arm at that one, Lee.
Just frustration, I think.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what he intended. The way that he played it, I mean, was he trying to pocket that ball off the yellow?
Well, I thought he was just going to try and just push the red a little bit further. He couldn't get the pocket, but at least he could promote his ball. But Carl...
Let's have a look at this. It almost looked like he was trying to push the bottom red off the cushion at the speed that he played it, Lee.
Yeah, I thought he was going to play the direct plant, but he's trying to play off the rail and plant the ball along, which is a very difficult shot.
Exactly.
And Carl's played a good shot there now. He's left himself in good position to try and take his first frame in this semi-final. It's a race to 10. And that 10 frames seem a long way away at the moment.
And he'll be relieved to see that yellow stay over the pocket. He knows now he can take the ball over the pocket and get the cue ball further up the table and have more shape. By shape, what we mean is the cue ball control, white in the middle of the table. And that's perfect. It's a very good shot. So another golden opportunity for Cole to get his first frame on the board.
Again, he seemed to take that cue ball a long way there, Lee. I don't think he really needed to screw back into the side rail, did he? That much.
Yeah, I just think he wanted to get rid of the yellow at the top of the table. It's fine, just trying to make his work a little bit easier. You could have gone any way around these 3 yellow balls. It's personal preference, really.
There's a good shot there from Carl Morris. Left himself fairly easy. He's just bridging a little bit. He's worried about his waistcoat on those balls. I don't think he's close to him at all. He's played a great shot there and left himself on a simple 8-ball, Jim.
And you'd like to see a few more just like that. Carl Morris, the 1998 world champion, takes his first frame here in the semifinal. He still trails Darren Appleton 2-1. Can quickly slot that one back with one good break.
Okay.
Now, is he allowed to touch the balls?
Well, again, there's nothing in the rules that says he can't. It is unusual to see, though. I think what he was trying to say to Melvin there, those second 2 balls back weren't quite touching. The left-hand one wasn't touching the right in the middle of them. And that's one of the things Darren generally looks for. He's looking at those front
frame,
6 balls.
Darren Appleton to break, leading 2 frames to 1.
Frame 4. With a 2-1 lead, Appleton would love to see one go down on the break here. And a yellow did.
And a nice open table
Yellow
as well.
ball's potted.
The only problem you can really see is the 8 and the,
Yellow balls
and the
in
red
play.
ball in the middle of the table. He's nominated the yellows, and there shouldn't really be any problem because you can screw the cue ball or cannon into him at some point. Darren should be taking this finish out.
When you lose a frame that takes quite a while to get it back so quickly, it would have to do your confidence the world of good.
30 seconds.
Yeah, and I think because it has been a stop-start match so far, you know, you can make your potted ability just drop down the level that you'd normally be at.
But I wonder if the pace of the first 2 and 3 frames might not have thrown Darren off stride slightly, because he's got that little hesitation about his game now, and normally he just gets down and, like you said, Lee, the position of the balls here, he would have got down and probably have played 3 or 4 of them by now.
Yeah, just because he's got off to a slow start. I mean, the balls are perfectly positioned for this finish.
Yeah, he's played a nice shot there. He's developed that the red away from the black, as you suggested, Lee. There was a couple of balls there that he was probably going to be able to use to do it, and he's done it early. We always say try and get the bad ball out early in the frame.
Yeah, good use of the red there. Doesn't want it to block the middle pocket.
I think it has.
So a little bit careless there from Darren, and that's been the story of the match so far. Both players a bit careless, scrappy, on a routine finish for Darren, really. He had to cannon off it, but he didn't need to play it that hard. So he's got to play a good positional shot here if he's going to take the finish in this visit. I'm not sure which pocket that yellow's going to go into.
I was just thinking that, Lee. I'm not 100% sure it'll go in any
30
pocket.
seconds.
Well, I think if he's going game, he's forced to take the one over the pocket, which he wouldn't really want to. Just because it's a harder position to get onto that other yellow. Right. He could be trying to screw over now to get on the awkward yellow. And that's why he's missed some
And he's
ball.
fluked it. He's fluked it.
Well, if this yellow goes into that top corner and Darren's on it, doesn't look like it from our overhead perspective, but there's been no smile. I'd love to have seen Carl Morris's reaction after that fluke.
Yeah, I think he's trying to screw over and just develop the cue ball in that area, just trying to nudge something. But he has got the option of putting the yellow over the pocket, bringing the cue ball back and playing the yellow in off the red in the middle.
I thought he had a chance to do that right after the yellow that he just played.
He could be cutting it over to play it onto the yellow here. That's exactly what he's played.
Oh, he's unlucky though. What a great shot. And he's flicked a red directly in the path. It just seems like, you know, he's the one with the shovel. He's digging the hole. And the pool gods are piling the dirt in on top of him.
Total snooker.
Yeah, dreadfully unlucky there. He played a real good cut shot. Well, it's the story of the match so far. Mistake after mistake from each player.
30 seconds.
Massey. Well, that's a great shot. And it's going to take an equally good one to knock in this black. How big would this be? Because you have to feel that Carl Morris has come out of his chair twice. Oh, what a shot from Darren Appleton. What a finish! They call Carl Morris Houdini, but it was a magical finish from Darren Appleton to secure the 3-1 lead that he enjoys.
Trailing 3 frames to 1.
Frame number 5. And Morris with the break.
He's moved his cue ball over there. I was just going to say before he broke, but he just moved it over to the left, to the right-hand side, and he lost the cue ball on the right-hand side pocket.
Open table, time running.
Second time for Morris into the same pocket. And if Darren takes advantage of this break off.
Exactly the same shot as before. Cue ball in that left-hand middle pocket.
Yeah, and I'll go back to what I said before when he went in offshore. When you put the cue ball right in the centre of the table, if you don't hit that front ball solid, you can lose it in the side pockets.
We just had a quick look at the table there. Nothing looks particularly easy. It looks like he's going to go reds. He's probably got one slightly awkward ball.
Red ball's in play.
Which is just to the left of the black.
I think that is the only awkward ball. The one behind the black, Sean. The other two will go. He can take the red into the left centre. That'll free the other red below it. And just how he's going to develop the red by the 8 ball.
I think the one below Lee might go into the right-hand middle off that yellow. But, we'll have to wait and see which way Darren decides to go about his work here.
Plenty of options.
Surely he's not going to play the tactical shot again and put it over the bottom left-hand corner. Yes, I've called it again.
Yellow ball's in play.
Oh, Lee, surely he tried to pocket that, didn't he? I mean, he would have played it a lot softer if he was trying to block the pocket. And he's shaking his head. That's just a miss.
Yeah.
But again, that miss to me is born out of all the tactical play. He's, you know, he just hasn't had a chance to get into a rhythm yet, even though it was a fantastic finish in the last one.
Yeah, but there's no problem where it's landed, though, Jim. He's got control of that area. I know he wants to go break finishing, but
30 seconds.
I wouldn't be too upset if I was Darren.
Getting his fingers in there. Sure, referee Mel Harley's in there having a good look as well.
That's a good shot from Cole there. Locking the red with the yellow ball. But he's still got a finish on here, Darren.
You bet he does. He can play the red into the middle and then play the red onto the yellow, onto the red over the pocket. The 3-ball plant.
Not quite sure he'll play it directly onto it. He'll probably play it into the knuckle. Move the yellow out of the way and the red will follow through. Knock the red in.
Yeah, he's got options. He can play the one above the 8 ball onto it. He can play the one below it, inside it. You know, it wasn't... although it was a containing shot, it wasn't a winning shot.
No, and you know something, where Darren has come and had a good look at it. He's thinking just like us. He came over the top side of the shot, so that's a possibility if he plays this red. And now, as I said, he's got his choice to try and slot that red nearest the pocket in. A 3-ball plant. Couldn't really have worked out any better.
No, that's what I call there, Jim, that he's played it just off the yellow, not the red in. And really, this is a fairly straightforward finish now for Darren Appleton. You see, he's still taking a little bit of time on this.
If you notice, he's getting his tongue out again.
A little surprised. I thought he'd just flick this in, take the red over the bottom left corner, play the red into the center because it affords easier position to the 8.
Yeah, I think he wanted the cue ball a bit further out. But he's got options. He's got no real trouble.
He's just going to roll this in. Thin cut on the red into the pocket, come back above. Roughly, not quite as high up as he is now, and a little bit further to the left with the cue ball. And take the black into the right-hand corner pocket line.
But it would have been easier to go Jim's way. Drop the red in and just drop the red into right centre.
Travelling with the cue ball, no bother. Darren Appleton. His dream still alive. 4-1 in front of Carl Morris.
Sixth frame, Darren Appleton to break, leading 4 frames to 1.
Frame 6, Appleton 4-1, a comfortable lead. A lot of noise, but that was it.
Open table.
Yeah, and the cue ball went close to the middle pocket again. He didn't quite go as far as the middle, but no balls down, so he lets Carl Morris back at the table.
Yeah, and there's almost a copycat break there of Carl Morris's. That cue ball went towards the middle pocket, but it just swerved away at the last minute with the spins, taking it away from the middle pocket.
So he's looking like he's going to go reds.
30 seconds.
Simply because he's got the easy starter.
Red ball's in play.
And he's got 2 awkward reds at the top left-hand corner. I'm not sure if they pass that yellow ball, but that'll be the key to the frame.
Yeah, I think they do pass lane. I think it's a plant, actually, a plant one onto the other. And just when he plays that plant, it's just how the balls lie after that. There's quite a bit of distance between those 2 reds, so he's going to play a plant. We see there on the overhead shot. Pretty sure that red does go past. It's just going to be how he lies after that.
30 seconds.
And Melvin's all over Carl there, looking to see if he's going to foul. And he has fouled.
He must have fouled with his waistcoat.
Yeah, Melvin was right in the shot there, Jim.
Yep, he was right behind it, and no one had a better look at it than our referee. But look at Carl. And I don't remember seeing Carl take a look at his waistcoat.
Not sure what Melvin Hall is actually doing here. What he's done, I think he's called a serious foul. Because what he's done, he's called a foul for Carl's waistcoat touching, and then Carl's played the shot. And what he's done is he's played out of turn. Accidentally, but he has played out of turn.
And I think that's exactly
what have to go back.
Dead on. Okay. Absolutely right, Sean. That's exactly what's happened. He's got to replace the balls because the foul came on the waistcoat before he actually played the shot, but Carl went through and played it. Remember, Carl is deaf. Good spot, Sean.
And he's got a right cheesy grin now, Jim. But now Darren comes to the table, 2 visits to take a 5-1 lead.
And no reason why he shouldn't take that lead. He's got the insurance of a miss in hand. That means 2 shots, so certainly no added pressure.
So he just needs to be careful here. Well, he's taking his time, but there shouldn't really be any trouble here.
He's played an excellent shot there. He's left himself position on that yellow because he obviously didn't want to disturb those reds by running into them. He wants to take this yellow probably next and then decide from there. 1 into the right-hand middle, top right-hand corner, and take his position on the black. No, he's coming out late.
Yeah, what he's done is screwed up and he wants to play over and behind it, Sean. He's landed a little bit straighter than he would have liked. But most of the top players tend to play out into bigger areas. They don't want to be having like a little angle to play with. Brings a cue ball on the middle of the table. He's got a lot more room to negotiate the white.
Appleton knows full well what it means to get to the final of this event. He was a beaten finalist 2 years ago in 2004. 11-9. He succumbed to McHill. He wants to go one better this year. And a great visit here. Takes him to 5-1 over Carl Morris. Darren Appleton in control here in Blackpool. Look at the waistcoat.
And look at Darren as well.
Yeah.
Stood there checking.
And what you can't see in that shot, I could see just before it, Melvin Harley's right there by the side of the table. He's looking now, Darren's got down, and there you see Melvin.
Darren's shaking his head. He's so pleased that Melvin's called it.
Well, his waistcoat's all over the ball. And at no time did Carl Morris lean over. You know, a lot of players, they'll lean back to have a look at it.
Yeah, and you notice a little tap on Cole's side there to say, Cole, 2 shots.
Seventh frame.
Careless mistake from Carl Morris, and a little aggression in this frame, I feel. Number 7, he trails 5-1.
And he changed the position of the break there, Jim.
And he's made a ball.
Because he lost the cue ball the 2 times from the middle. But he's made a ball, and that's what he wanted to do. Now the Reds are in a great position, but can he get through to one?
The toughest may be his first.
Full dress code.
Reds, timeout.
His waistcoat does look, in fairness, Sean, his waistcoat does look like it might be a size or 2 large.
Well, I can tell you a little story about that. He went shopping today for this waistcoat. I think he might be throwing it away tomorrow if he loses this match.
Well, I don't know whether I'd be going back to the same fitter.
And it is part of the dress code that you must wear a waistcoat in these championships.
Oh, he's been a little unlucky there. I think the Reds are still patchy, so he's okay. But it was a good pot.
I mean, he's got it all shrugged at the back, and I mean, that would have been hanging down. When the foul was called, that was down a good margin from where his body actually was.
So a tough red. Just wobbled, but went in.
I had a quick glance as our camera came around. It looked like there might be half a pocket for this red, top left. Certainly, if not, he's got angle to be able to move that cue ball around to get behind it. But that looks to be the awkward one as we see the lay of the land here right now, Lee.
Yeah, I think it does go, but I think he wants to get right behind it, Jim, so he can be simple. He can just stun it in and let it sneak past the yellow ball. You won't want to play a shot at distance at that. So he's a red into the centre and just drift the cue ball up the table. And he's just said he's had a kick.
Timeout.
And that's why he's getting the cue ball cleaned. How many kicks has there been in this tournament so far?
Well, the one thing I did notice, Lee, when the spotted ball was first introduced, he seemed to have a lot of kicks early on with it, but once it'd been played with for a while, those kicks stopped. So whether we're using a fresh cue ball every time in this championship, I don't know.
I think it holds the chalk a little bit more than the normal cue ball. It seems to stay on the cue ball a little bit more. If you look at the cue ball, after a few shots, you see little blue marks on it where the chalk's been on it.
I think our referees just had to pay a little visit to the senior referees table, because I don't think he had his ball marker with him. Most don't like Melvin, but these things do happen.
Slightly hampered over the yellow here.
And it's a tester. And he's passed the test. Good long red. Perfect position on that awkward red into the top left-hand corner.
Well, that's right, Lee. This is the one we alluded to earlier. Half a pocket only. And didn't even touch the yellow.
And this is exactly what the doctor ordered for Carl Morris after seeing him lose the last 4 frames. So he needed to get back to the table here. and looks like he's going to wrap this frame up here.
And wrap it up he does. Back to 5-2. Carl Morris with a great break and finish in response to Darren Appleton, but a long ways back for the '98 world champion.
Eighth frame, Darren Appleton.
The 2004 runner-up with a
5-2.
5-2 lead. Breaks in frame number 8 of a possible 19.
He's part of yellow, and just a quick look at the
Yellow
table.
ball's
There's a little
potted.
bit of a cluster on the left-hand side.
It's yellow balls, I think, here.
Yeah.
He's got the one by the middle, which you can disturb the area where the two reds are.
Yellow ball's in play.
And yellows he's nominated.
What he might look to do here is maybe that there's two at the top end of the table. He's going to take one onto the other as a plant. So it looks like he is. And then he can leave that ball there as a safety. Gives him a shot.
Now, I think he's going to go all out aggression here, Sean. I think he's looking at developing that area very soon and go game.
No, what I meant by the safety was not a safety shot, but it's his safety ball. It will give him an option. If he doesn't finish on anything else when he develops that area, he'll still have that ball. It's not finished over the pocket.
Yeah, but the reds are too far in the open for that. He's got to just take the finish out. With Carl being such a good positional play, he can get behind that area.
30 seconds.
Did someone call?
Yeah, he's slightly over it. That one, he wanted an angle just to let the cue ball run into those two reds. But he's still got the one over the right centre.
That's right, and that would afford him angle on that other yellow over the other centre pocket, Lee. But again, he's leaving a little to luck, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just a little bit annoyed because he knew that he could land on that ball if he didn't get on the one on the side rail. So he knows he's just got to put his eggs in one basket, really, which he didn't really want to.
30 seconds.
Well, the significance of the next two shots paramount for Darren Appleton, and that's why he's taken the full allotment of time. 1 minute, 60 seconds for each player to play a shot, and you've heard the 30-second warning.
Well, that's a great shot. I don't think any of us saw that. A long pot into the top left-hand corner and just bring the cue ball behind the reds. Brilliant shot.
Sign of confidence.
Definitely. He took all the danger out of the shot, didn't he? That's what he did by taking it to the top corner. Total belief in his cueing ability, potting ability.
And I think realizing that Mr. Momentum is in his side.
I'll tell you what's happened here. He looks totally relaxed compared to his quarter-final match. Even when he was leading, he was, I think it's like 4-2, 5-2 up, and he was still shaking his head. He had a little thump of the table in frustration, and as we've seen none of that. You know, it looks like he's going to take a 6-2 lead here, and he looks totally relaxed and in control.
Dead center of the pocket, right in the heart. A dagger through Carl Morris's heart. 6-2, Darren Appleton leads. Well, Morris knows he's got the break in the next, and it's 6-2.
We see that shot again to the top left-hand corner pocket. It's a fantastic shot. He's just left himself that little bit of angle on that yellow.
Yeah, reading the table well, and obviously having the courage to play that shot.
Ninth frame, Carl Morris to break, trailing 6 frames to 2.
Frame 9. And with a 6-2 deficit, Morris breaks, praying for a ball to go down. And a red does.
Yeah, you notice there he changed his position. See the break shot. Oh, he's actually played the second ball down.
Yeah, it's what we call the cut break there, where you try and make a ball into the
30
side.
seconds.
He's got one in the top corner.
Yeah, I remember seeing you employ that break And a short while ago, Lee.
Red ball's
it
in
was
play.
very successful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mix it up. I play the front ball sometimes and the second ball.
He had a quick check of his waistcoat that time before he leaned over the table.
He had a shot too late, though.
And has he left himself on this ball?
Frame and a half
On the
too
bottom
late.
left-hand cushion.
Yeah, he's took a little bit more care, as you said, Jim. But again, I think that goes down to he's not really got himself into the match. He's not really come out firing on all cylinders that we normally expect of him.
You know, Morris has usually got that fire in his eyes, doesn't he? And even though he might
30 seconds.
play a lot of tactical pool, I mean, he gets around the table quick. And he's doing nothing with which to instill
He's
any
lost the cue ball
confidence.
there.
No, that's not going to help.
I'm not
Two
sure what he
visits.
played there. I'm
Yellow
not sure
balls
if he
in
tried
play.
to
Time
develop
limit.
the area, which didn't really need developing. I think he's trying to screw back into the red or the yellow.
Just not quite sure what he's played there, Lee, at all. You know, didn't seem to be any need for that. And Darren's quickly to the table. And I think he'll make light work of these with 2 visits. He probably will with 1. I wouldn't think he'd be needing his 2.
And that's the contrast in styles. You will never see Darren play those sort of shots. He plays a little stun shots and he works areas out. But Carl, sometimes he will take the chance, he'll let the cue ball run. And, you know, you can't let the cue ball run at this game.
It's not rocket science, Lee. It's the old adage, you know, keep it simple, stupid. And Darren Appleton is looking at 4 simple yellows.
There's not a lot you can say after that comment, Jim.
I think a stunned silence from the comms box.
I can't believe I've done that to you, Sean.
Second visit.
Second visit in.
Well, I did put the mockers on him there because I said he probably would only need 1 visit for this finish. He's going to use his 2, but I still don't see any problems here for Darren Appleton.
Going to be
now.
the same result.
Most definitely.
Yeah, he's got the yellow into the centre. Run the cue ball down to the bottom rail. And just a simple 1 cushion positional shot to extend his lead even further.
You really can't see any way back for Morris.
No, that's prime position. A 5-frame lead. Hard against Appleton.
I noticed that both Sean and I marked our scorecards already. We've given him this one. The 8 down, 7-2. A formidable lead to Darren Appleton over Carl Morris. Carl Morris has a job to do now. He trails Darren Appleton 7 frames to 2 in the race
Darren
to
Appleton
10.
to break,
And what's worse
7 frames
for
to
Morris
2.
is it's Appleton's break and a chance to go further in front. Frame number 10 awaits.
And that's a great break. All the yellows are in the middle of the table.
Red ball's potted.
He's potted a red. The reds are in the open. But I'm sure if you can get through to the yellows, it'll be yellows. And 8-2 is looking on the cards.
Yeah, Darren's just looked there. He's not quite sure he can get through. He's looking there. Can he get through to that yellow? The nearest one to the right middle.
I think he's got his fingers crossed as well, hoping he can get through the gap.
One more look at the break. Kept the cue ball away from the pockets. I mean, it was kicked by the yellow there, but never threatened a pocket, and I'm sure that kept any
Yellow
anxious
ball's nominated.
feelings from...
Well, he's gone yellow, so he obviously feels he can get through. Or is he playing a plant?
Yeah, he's got the option of... it just depends on the room, doesn't it, if he's got room to get the cue ball through.
Difficult shot.
And that's because he
Yeah,
changed
yeah.
his mind. Because he was
table.
unsure, Jim, there. He got up off the shot and he should have walked away from the table. So he's shaking his head a little bit there.
So he's handed an open table back to Carl Morris.
Yes.
As you know there, he nominated yellows, but it's because he didn't pot one.
Well, the ball that was potted off the break was a red. And when he nominated yellows, that he would have had the pocket yellow for that to be his chosen suit.
But wasn't it a surprise that he actually went down on the shot, pulled up the shot, and just went straight back down again, didn't re-sight or anything?
And that cost him the miss, Lee.
I'm not quite sure about the time though, Lee. I think 30 seconds had already been called on him. So whether he's had a look up at the clock and thought, I can't afford to get up and...
Well, probably the time was a factor. If he wasn't under a minute, he would have definitely pulled away. But how close he was to that minute, I don't think we'll ever know.
Well, if Karl is to make any inroads into the deficit of 5 frames, good time to start right here. Capitalize on the mistake from Appleton. Steal this one against Appleton's break.
But he's not in perfect position again. He's let the cue ball run a little bit further than he would have liked.
But the Karl Morris that won this event in '98 would have whiffled through these already, Lee.
Yeah, it just seems to be a little bit hard work at the moment. His cue ball's going into areas where it doesn't want to be, where it doesn't need to be, more importantly. So he needs to avoid the red here. He's caught the other red, and that's fine. He's got choices now. He's got the yellow in the top left-hand corner, or the yellow in the left centre. It's the yellow in the left centre. Well, he's just going to roll this in, off the rail. Yellow into the right centre. Now, I'm not sure what angle he's got here, but he's got... Yeah, he's running on and off the rail. No problems.
And to the center pocket. Off on the right foot on the comeback trail. 7-3. And Karl has the break in frame number 11. Frame number 11. 7-3 to Appleton and Morris with a successful break.
Red ball's potted.
He's trying to waft the red and the yellow at the top area apart.
This has to be yellows.
Yeah, he's definitely yellows, but I don't see what his first ball is. And he hasn't potted a yellow off the break, so he still needs to pot a yellow. So he feels a little bit hard done to by the break there. And a quick look at the clock.
It's noticeable again on that break, and I think on the previous one as well. Didn't actually go and check the pack. So he's whether that he was trying to use that as a little game earlier on, and he's decided obviously it wasn't working against Darren, so he's decided he's not going to do it anymore.
And that's a great shot because he's just developed the yellow on the right hand side, broke it away from the red. He's just got that awkward ball behind the 8 ball, and whether that can go in the middle of this shot, if it does, he'll have a great opportunity to reduce the deficit.
Now, is it me, or does it seem that Karl's playing with a little bit more conviction? He's sped up his play somewhat. And seems to be a little bit more positively minded. I know he's still shaking his head, but that's Karl Morris.
That normally means he's perfect, Jim, when he shakes his head.
Exactly, Lee.
Yeah, and that looks fine because he can get on that awkward ball next here if he so chooses.
But I don't detect that negative body language that I saw, you know, around frame 8 or 9.
Yeah, he was very solemn at the start of this match, which... Oh, he's missed it.
Red ball's in play.
Again, he's covered the pocket, so we could have a few tactics. But it was careless.
See the shot again. They say he's overcut that.
But it's another opportunity with all the yellows in the open to win the frame in one visit. And now he's going to end up with another tactical battle, and he's already lost 2 of those already.
Well, it can't do his confidence any good. You know, when he's got a clear-cut finish on, as he had there.
30 seconds.
Speaking, of course, of Karl Morris, then you know, he's got to take the finish. He's got to let Darren Appleton know that the mistakes are going to be punished. And nothing easy from which to get started here for Carl Morris. He's on the yellows.
So he'll probably just move the yellow, which is near the 8 ball, into the open. So we can take a finish on, hopefully, in the next frame. And the next shot, sorry. He wants to win this one before he gets to the next frame.
30 seconds.
That's usually the way this game works, Lee.
So he's just queuing up, showing you what he wants to strike the yellow ball. Just bring the cue ball to the top area and develop the yellow. That's a good shot.
Even though he's left them the red?
Yeah, I mean, what he has done, he's left him an angle where he could get the cue ball down to the bottom left-hand corner. And if he can get behind the red, he's got a possible chance of taking the finish out.
Yeah, I think he tried to run that cue ball right through to the cushion, Lee, and just short of pace, about 6-8 inches there. Like you say, he's left Darren a chance at this red.
But he's got lots of work
seconds.
to do. Oh. Yeah, he's got the cue ball down in that area, as I said. He's just run a little bit too far. He'd like the cue ball to stop a couple of balls further away than where it has landed. So he can't really attack those balls in this shot. But I'm sure he'll be trying to get the cue ball back there within the next couple.
Yeah, maybe easier said than done, though. By the look of it, which red does he land on after this one? And that's assuming he takes the one over the corner, and there's no guarantee there.
30 seconds.
I mean, he has got the option of bridging over the red and taking the other red right up to the top left-hand corner, but how tough a shot is that?
So that's a massive shot, Lee. And certainly if he wasn't to get it, he would almost certainly lose the frame as well. So I don't know whether he quite wants to take that chance. I know he's 4 frames in front, but he's already seen Peg back on the last frame after his mistake.
Yeah, he just played a containing shot. I think he wanted the red to come back in front of the cue ball. I'm not sure if he can get through to the one in the top left-hand corner. I think he can.
Time out.
He's just asking for a total snooker here, Carl. So we're soon going to know.
I think he can get through to that.
It's not.
Yeah,
Time
referee
running.
saying no to the total snooker. So is he just going to try and maybe put a little bit on this?
I think he'll just roll it up towards the top area. Just like that, didn't need to do anything else. He's got Darren in trouble. He's still got 2 reds over the left-hand side, where the yellow ball is over the pocket. A real problem area there for Appleton. But I'm sure Darren will be trying to get the cue ball over and try and attack and have a go at the finish. That's a good shot. He's developed one of those, so he only needs to get behind one now.
Has he left himself an angle here to screw this one bottom right and then screw back across Lee? But I don't know, he hasn't. No, just thought maybe if he'd have been a little bit higher above it, that red, he could have been able to screw back across the table.
Yeah.
Tough shot, but player Darren's calibre, certainly capable of making that shot.
Yeah, we're certainly looking to try and get the cue ball back over towards the yellow over the pocket so he can run the red along the rail. So whichever way he chooses, that'll be his plan.
30 seconds.
Well, he's going to try and knock this. Well, I think he expected that to go in because he's just left Carl Morris a gilt-edged opportunity. But I think he was trying to hold position for the red to the center to draw back behind that awkward red.
That's correct, but I think he thinks it's rolled off, or he looked a little bit as though he believes that ball's rolled off. Look at his body language.
Let's watch it. Oh, did it ever?
If you have a look on the screen, you could see there's a couple of finger marks there. Again, we've seen this in previous
30
games.
seconds.
Well, I'm not sure if his finger marks out for how much that's turned. That's a big roll, that, Sean.
I can't see it being a roll on the table. And Carl's missed that. Can't see it being a roll on the table, Lee. It's moved so much in such a short distance.
Well, I think Darren will be asking that if he's in the final, he'll be asking for this table to be level, if not after this frame.
See that miss from Carl Morris?
Yeah, that one barely threatened the side pocket.
Didn't even cue up, did he? He sort of pointed his cue to the tip of his cue at the cue ball. And he knows another opportunity has gone by.
30 seconds.
Still in control, but you know he's needing 2 or 3 visits to win a frame. So he's playing to bang the red out and screw the cue ball across into the red over the pocket.
And that yellow has found its way into the middle pocket, and he's given Carl Morris 2 visits. Now Carl has got to take this opportunity, surely now.
Look at the look on his face as he comes to the table. Morris will most certainly take this opportunity and claw one more back. A couple lax shots really from Darren Appleton.
But he was really unlucky there once he was the roll of the table.
Oh, incredibly.
You can't legislate for that.
Oh, he's miscued.
And how lucky has he been to still pot the ball? But Darren can't believe it. A slight head shake.
I tell you what, he was extremely lucky that he didn't foul here. That could have quite easily skidded off the yellow, and the cue ball finished on the floor.
He's lucky to hit the ball, never mind potted.
Watch it. Up in the air and landing straight, flush with the yellow.
30 seconds.
And this
Second
8,
visit.
the second visit in now. This 8 to get back to 7-4. It's there, and he puts that foul from Darren Appleton to big use. 7-4, Appleton over Carl Morris. Well, not a lot with which to try and build any initiative, really. I mean, it's more a case of what's been missed than what's been made here.
Yeah, there's lots of presents being given out. It's not Christmas yet, but he's got to cut that out. He's getting some sandpaper out now just to sort his tip out. So whether he's damaged his tip on that last miscue.
Well, it certainly wasn't a bad miscue, though, Lee. I mean, I've seen miscues where the balls have jumped off the table from this position. I mean, in fairness, it only jumped about maybe 8 inches on a bit, so it wasn't the type of miscue that really should damage a tip. Just a little green repair. Frame number 12. Appleton 7-4, the number 6 seed, and straight into the corner pocket. This match has turned on Darren Appleton like a rabid dog.
Yeah, you were talking about momentum, but I think the momentum's going back to Morris now.
1 visit open table. Time running.
You see the break-off shot again here. He's just screwed that cue ball straight back. Just screwed it straight back into the top left corner pocket. And again, it's a bad mistake from down there.
Yeah, I think it's about 4 times now we've seen the cue ball go straight into either the corner or the centre pocket. Which, like you say, it hasn't been kicked in any of those times. He's straight in. And out of all the players, the only player I would say that's totally controlled the break is Mark Selby. And you wouldn't think so for a snooker player. You'd think they normally struggle with the break.
Yeah, it belies everything that snooker players are taught, doesn't it, Lee? You know, trying to get your shoulder and power into a break.
Yeah, most of them stay down on the shot and they're taught technique to not move on the shot, but with the break shot, you tend to put a little bit of extra in it, the body, your foot, all your weight behind it.
Carl played a nice little shot there just prior to that where he's developed the black away from those 2 reds that are just to the left of it now. There was a little bit of a cluster there, but he's developed them and now has left himself a great opportunity to cut the deficit again to just 2 frames.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say, Sean. What he's doing is slowly pulling Darren Appleton closer to him. Like I say, within 2, Darren's going to start thinking, I'm not going to throw this match away, am I?
Well, you just wonder. This echoes back to the World Final 2004, where Darren led 5-0, 7-2 and 9-6 against Mick Hill. Ended up losing the match 11-9.
But I think the difference in this match so far is Carl has needed 2 or 3 chances to win a frame. I mean, if that trend continues, Darren will win.
Well, he's overcooked that. I think he's tried to leave himself on the one on the side rail. And whether he can see the one to the bottom right, I don't know whether he can or not.
Well, if he can't get through to the one on the right, he's forced into taking the yellow in the top left. Yeah, he's fine.
In no danger whatsoever. This match has taken on a completely different complexion since 7-2.
I'm surprised he played that ball. I would have took the one in the middle and just screwed the one on the rail up and just take the black into the top right hand corner.
I'm just wondering, can he actually get through to it cleanly? He's having a very, very good look.
Yeah, he's just looking where the cue ball's going, and there's a fair chance he's going to be snookered behind one of the reds, so he needs to be very, very careful here. He'll do well to hold this.
Well, he's missed it.
Red ball's in play.
That was all of his own making there.
Poor shot selection, Lee. I was shaking my head. You were talking about selecting the wrong ball there, and I was just sitting in my chair shaking my head. I was mystified at the way that he went through his business, and I mean, he has actually manufactured. He's made that clearance as difficult as he possibly could have.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised because it's happened in nearly every frame. He's needed 2 or 3 visits to win a frame.
No, it was actually a couple of shots before that where he overcooked the cue ball and he came down the rail. And he's had to take the one into the right-hand corner after that.
But there's still no excuse when he's got 2 balls to roll and a ball down the rail and just stun the cue ball into the middle of the table. Just poor shot selection.
Yeah, I think that was my point, Lee, that, yeah, he's got out of position. Looks like he's got back in, and like you say, he's just taken the wrong shot.
And he can't keep relying on mistakes from Appleton either.
Well, no, because ultimately Darren's going to stop making those mistakes. I mean, if he takes this finish out here, he'll be leading 8-4. He'll be just 2 frames from victory.
30 seconds.
In this race to 10 for a date in the World Final with Mark Selby.
And Appleton, you'll probably have to check his pulse. He won't believe that he's 8-4 in front the way that he's played.
Well, his 2 TV matches now, both opponents haven't turned up to play him. And both players that he's played have won 3 world. Well, they've won 2 world. One has won 2 world titles, and one has won a world title.
Yeah, Jason Twist and Appleton, a 9-2 comfortable win, and Jason just never did find form. And Carl Morris hasn't exhibited anywhere near the form he's capable of either. But it's all on the day.
Yeah, you think with those 3 world titles against an opponent which hasn't won a world title, you'd get some sort of fight.
Well, there's still some pool to be played here, though.
He's overcooked that one a little bit. He may be forced to take the red into the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah. Is that a trait of this different cue ball, Lee? We've seen that a few times now where they've screwed back onto the rail, then the ball seems to shoot forward a little bit, and they've overcooked the shots.
Yeah, it's the weight of the cue ball. If you notice, Mark Selby didn't struggle. He always had the cue ball in position where all the 8-ball players are just overdoing shots, misjudging angles, having to pull the cue ball back in line. And how many times has Darren Appleton run out of position on a finish?
You saw the spin there on that cue ball, but he's left himself in a perfect position here for this 8-ball.
And with it, an 8-5, or sorry, an 8-4 advantage to Darren Appleton.
Frame.
It looked like Morris was going to take frame 12. Not so. It goes the way of the number 6 seed.
8 frames to 4.
It's frame 13 that brings Morris out of his chair to the table now. Trailing 8-4. His back is firmly planted against the wall. And he gives the
Open
table up immediately.
Yeah, just had a quick look there. Reds look like they could be the ball.
Yeah, both balls are split well. I think whichever suit he chooses, and I think it probably will be the Reds, are well split.
It was a good split. He just didn't find any friends there on that break shot.
But I don't think these two matches which Darren Appleton's playing in, and I'm presuming he's going to go on to win this match, will help him for the final, because both opponents he's played haven't turned up. Now Mark Selby is going to turn up, and he is going to play well, and Darren's going to raise his game. I don't think he's played that badly, but he won't get as many chances.
Red ball's in play.
But also Mark Selby will play at a pace that Darren is considerably more comfortable playing. And we remember, Lee, I think you and I were talking, earlier in the week. They've played before, and what happened?
Yeah, Darren won 8 frames to 0, which is an amazing stat.
And you don't forget beatings like that.
No.
I think, to be fair to Mark, I think his game's come on a little bit since then, though. I say, we talked earlier on again about him being a snooker player, but he is actually playing county pool on a regular basis, playing interleague pool, and he's used to this discipline now. It's not like he's a snooker player who's just turned up for this tournament.
Yeah, but I wasn't, when I said he lost 8-0, I wasn't running Mark down in any way. It's just how Darren played. He just dished him nearly every frame. He just didn't get to the table.
Well, it's a long ways from an Appleton-Selby final, and you can see Darren. Well, that's a familiar pose and a familiar look.
I think once again he got out of position on that shot, and he's contacted the yellow. He didn't want that.
And Carl Morris was 7-3 down in his last 16 match against Sonny Singh, and come back and play some tremendous pool, and he just missed another one there into the centre.
Yellow ball's in play.
So Darren's missing a few as well now. Yeah, he was 7-3 down, and Morris has run 4 from the break and took a good finish out in the deciding frame, so he can still come back, but can he raise his game? That's what concerns me. He can't keep having 2 or 3 chances to win a frame.
I think Melvin's just confirmed that yellow ball was frozen, which what that means is if the yellow ball's touching the cushion, after he's contacted, a ball has got to hit a cushion. Either the white's got to strike a cushion or run into another ball and hit a cushion. Otherwise it would have been a foul.
Because Carl Morris is a fighter, he'll dig deep. But I just think he's got to find some form from somewhere. He hasn't turned up with any form in this match.
But how often, Lee, have we seen a player struggle in a match, and even 2, as Darren may well be doing here, and go on to find his form in a final? I guess the saying is, and I remember, I quote Steve Davis years ago, I remember him telling me, it's not how good your good game is, it's how good your bad game is.
Yeah, I remember Carl Morris playing Neil Blake in a quarter-final of the Worlds, and both players played terrible. And I thought, well, whoever wins that one's playing Chris Mallin, so Chris Mallin's going to have an easy game. Carl went out in the next match, and he blew Mallin away.
Anytime you're involving spherical objects, funny things can happen.
A quick check there of the clock, making sure he's got plenty of time left.
Could you spell that for me?
But he has got a good chance of the finish here. And if he doesn't, he can just roll the yellow down. If he doesn't fancy going, he can just roll the yellow down, promote the area. He needs to get the bottom rail so Darren can't slide the red past the yellow. He's got the option to take the one in the middle and just bump the red away. So whichever way he feels comfortable.
He's not sure here at all, is he? He's not sure at all what he wants to do. He's got down twice to play this shot and got back up.
He's in 2 minds whether to play the cover shot or to go game. And he's decided the cover shot. He doesn't want this one to go. He just covered. That's a good shot. He wanted to cover the bottom rail because there's a red on that rail which could have slid past.
I just wondered, does that red go onto the knuckle, maybe past the yellow? I'm not sure from that view.
No, I don't think it does, Sean. So a real nothing shot there from Darren. Hasn't really achieved anything.
I just wonder if Carl might elect to take that yellow next to the red here and roll that down onto that pocket and definitely block it off. Well, he's gone the other side with it.
Yeah, again he's in total control. It's for Carl to lose it rather than yeah, it's for Carl to lose it rather than Darren winning it, because the 3 yellows in that left-hand corner are big problems for Appleton. But there may be a gap to play the one that he's potted the one on the top. He thinks this red goes past, and he's correct. That's a mistake by Morris.
And that's why I said I thought he was playing the yellow the other side to block the pocket off completely, and he hasn't. He's left it on the right hand side of those 2 nearest to the pocket, and he's just looking how this is going to split.
See, what's in Carl's favour is there's another 2 yellows at the side of it, and I don't think he can clear all of them in one shot, and there's another red on that bottom rail.
Well, hold on to your hats here, we might going to find out. Has he been lucky there? I think that'll go. I think that'll just sneak past.
Yeah, but the problem is he's still got a red on that bottom rail.
Took the words out of my mouth, Lee. There's still a problem ball just to the left. And that's the reason he doesn't want to take this. But he has gained control of this pocket, and the crowd acknowledges the complete turnaround in this frame. Simply, again, a lax effort from Carl Morris, failing to see what Darren Appleton spotted.
Yeah, and we've certainly seen in this match, Darren's been the better of the tacticians.
Total snooker.
See, now Darren can go up and down off that top cushion and try and hit the red on the bottom rail and bring it into the open. It wouldn't be too bothered if Carl put the yellow over that pocket, because he just played a deliberate foul straight back, so I'll be surprised if he doesn't go up and down here.
30 seconds.
30 seconds announced.
It's taking an awful long time over the shot.
You better be wary of the time.
I'm not convinced of the shot he's playing.
Foul. 2 visits.
He might as well let the clock expire if he's going to do that.
Well, the only slight difference, Jim, between doing that is that the Carl Morris has the option of having cue ball in hand. Whether it had actually done him any good in that situation, I doubt, but that is the difference between actually just playing a DF and like you say, letting the time expire.
Yes, Sean Baker, he's not the chairman of the English Pool Referees Association for nothing.
But I do think Darren's made a tactical mistake there. I think he should have played to get out of that, because he's in total control, and it's just a basic up and down. Develop the red. He has Carl in all sorts of trouble. But then again, I don't think Carl's played the best shot straight after. I would have just rolled the yellow on top of the red. Contain one area, then worry about the other area. So both players are not really thinking straight in this match.
30 seconds.
What he's doing is looking at laying a snooker on the that one bad ball of Darren's, making sure that he can't get to it.
Well, he's going to do well to block him off both of them, Sean. And he's left him to bump that ball out. That's just a waste of 2 visits by Carl.
Good position here, I think.
Yeah, it's fine. 2 bad shots there from Carl. 2 bad tactical shots.
And as the master tactician, lost the technique, Lee. He's not been playing much of our English 8-ball or World 8-ball rules recently. He's been playing a lot of American pool.
I just don't think he's turned up to the match so far. As you saw in the quarter-final, he got himself all wound up and got himself into the match, and he was really up for it. And this match, he's just not turned up.
Yeah, but I think that that gamesmanship that he was using against Tom Ford, he knew that it wouldn't work against Darren. And that's been the unfortunate thing, and maybe he's used up all of his energy and his enthusiasm, if you like, in that quarter-final match. and he's feeling a little bit flat.
30 seconds.
Well, both players have come out a little flat for my money. I think there's been a lot of mistakes in this semi-final, and if Mark Selby is anywhere near the center stage here and watching who he's going to be opposing in the final, he's going to be smacking his lips.
No, he didn't want that one to drop there, Jim. He wanted that one to stay over the pocket. But these two players are playing for a place in the world final.
Quick reminder, the score 8-4 in favor of Darren Appleton. Frame 13 still hangs in the balance. It's a race to 10. So Appleton really in the catbird seat, and it's all to do for Carl Morris.
Just having a look around what he's going to leave. He's just looking as though he's going to leave the cue ball at the top of the table. No, he is playing the shot to get another one over and block that area up. He's not done it very well, though.
He's left a big gap there.
I think he's left him a go at the finish here, because he can snip it in and hold on that yellow he just pointed his tip at. So another careless shot from Cole. So he's going to be playing the red into the bottom right hand corner and trying to hold on the yellow. If the cue ball stays where that yellow is, it should be frame over. That's a great shot.
I think he's all right. He's got to clear the gap and get back to leave that 8 into the center pocket.
He just screw back onto the yellow or just get over to that side. He's guaranteed a shot. There you go. Use the yellow as a buffer.
Beautifully played. Appleton again turning it here. The screws are tightening, and Carl Morris now knows he cannot lose another frame in this semifinal. Appleton 9-4. Well, a very comfortable lead. Led 7-2 at one stage, 5 frames. That's the biggest lead he's enjoyed, and he enjoys it now. Frame 14. Appleton's hoping it's the last played here in the semifinal. And he can settle himself in.
He's made a red. Bottom right-hand corner pocket.
Red ball spotted.
Just had a quick look there. Maybe yellows could be the ball here, Lee.
Yeah, I mean, he is probably going to take the yellows, nominated. And he has nominated the yellows, and this could be 10-4 over and out. So he's just working his route out here.
30 seconds.
These are the finishes which we've seen Cole come to the table and find problems.
Yeah, it's just left himself a little bit awkward there. He's almost Chinese on that with that red.
Yeah, what you mean by that, Sean? Really close, and he may have to bridge over it, but I think he's got the option of taking the one in the centre.
Yeah, but we tend to do, Lee, your top players, they tend to clear the balls in areas, don't they? So you don't like going up and down the table too much. So he may now, he's moved up to that top end, probably look at clearing those balls in that area.
Well, I just think it's a dot-to-dot finish. You can just go one of about 4 or 5 ways about this finish and still get them. Yeah,
we've talked about that before in commentary, that you probably get half a dozen pros out there and they'd probably go half a dozen different ways here. So, like I say, it's all the fairly basic stuff here for Darren.
These are anxious moments, and Appleton is embracing them as a world finalist should.
Yeah, he's in great position now here. He just needs to run this ball into the middle pocket, relieve himself an angle. The one to the bottom left-hand corner pocket, Lee.
Yeah, he did look a little straight on it, but he's just got enough angle to run through for the choice of balls at the bottom of the table.
Well, he certainly knows the finish line is in sight, doesn't he?
He's just showing you there with his cue where he wants this cue ball to go. Just wondering, is he going to try and run it between the red and the cushion here, Lee?
That's the option, and that's the option he's taken. So he's just 3 balls away.
Got a couple choices here with this second last yellow. I mean, obviously limiting the movement of the cue ball, he'd be playing it into the pocket he's looking at now.
And I think he's just showing you where he wants to leave the cue ball there, Jim.
Yeah, but a twitch, Lee. One little twitch.
Yeah, this guy doesn't twitch very often.
Yeah, he's been here before. As you say, 2004 runner-up, so he's been to the final, and he desperately wants to be there again.
30 seconds.
For a date with Mark Selby.
Not bad. Would like to have been dead straight. I think he would have intended the 8 into the left center, but now he's coming to have a look to see whether it passes to the bottom left corner. Can't be a full pocket there.
Not quite sure with that red. Looks close to the line of the black into the left-hand corner. He's made up his mind. We're going to find out, Jim. No, he hasn't. He's changed it. He's not quite sure. Is he looking at maybe trying to screw back, Lee, and get behind the black for the top right-hand corner pocket?
Well, I think he's just got enough angle to run this through.
Straight through, the black obviously passes. And this for a place in the final against Mark Selby.
He wouldn't have been thinking about this a few shots ago. It's a tough shot here for a place in the final.
He's got it! The Dazzler is through to his second final. Darren Appleton, a 10-4 win over Carl Morris, and he now faces Mark Selby in the World Final.
Just take your seats for a few minutes, please. Don't forget the
Very impressive indeed by the Dazzler. Darren Appleton getting through, and as I said, he's been at this stage before, but now I feel as though now he's got the confidence to really go through and take the title that he's missed out on so many times.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's got a tough match now, though, you know, up against Mark. Mark played really well in his semi-final, and, you know, I think Darren can go into it with the attitude of, well, you know, he can't really play a lot worse than he did out there, really. I mean, not that we played that bad, but by his standards, you know, maybe we'll see it that way.
Disappointing by Carl Morris in many ways, because we know he can play better than that.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be disappointed, you know, and like I said, he'll be the first one to hold his hands up and tell you, know, that wasn't a good performance at all. But, you know, that's pool. Sometimes you play well and sometimes you don't, and unfortunately that was one of the times Carl didn't.
And all the preparation, there's nothing you can, you know, practice all you like, but you never know what you're going to get until you walk out under those lights.
That's right. No, I mean, you can practice all the hours in the world, really, but it's not the same as having match practice, and Carl really hasn't had a lot of match practice, you know. He's been practicing a lot of American 8-ball pool and hasn't really played in any of our tournaments this season, and maybe that's what the difference was.
Well, the man from Pontefract has done it. He's through to the final, and he's with Jim Weish.
Well, I'm here with Darren Appleton, and I'm sure, Darren, if it's the predominant emotion right now, it's relief, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a tough match. Carl Morris has not played at any pool for 6 months, and to get to a semi-final of a World Championship, it's a great achievement, and I think he deserves a round of applause for that.
Well, hear, 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 hear. Darren, you knew it was going to be difficult. You knew Carl's method of play, and it can bog players down, and you still managed to win the tactical battles.
Tactically, Carl's one of the best players in the world, and over the years I must have played him 105 times, and it's always a battle with Carl. Like, the main thing against him, you have to be patient, and that was the key. Like, because I knew when I was breaking well, I was potting well, but a lot of the frames like were a bit was like a little bit bitter, like a fucking, it was like a bit tactical. So I just had to bide me time, like, and think a lot as well.
Well, listen, you're looking at Mark Selby in the final. Do you fancy it, Darren?
Well, last time I played him, I beat him 8-0. So, but obviously this week he's probably played the best pull. So I'm going to have to play better than that tomorrow.
Save your best for last. All the best in the final, mate.
Cheers, Jim.
A somewhat shell-shocked Darren Appleton there, but either way, he's through to the final, and that's where he's going to have to put on his best game. Let's take a look at the final lineup then. As you saw, Mark Selby going through 10-5 over Chris Melling, Darren Appleton 10-4 over Carl Morris, and that's going to be the final. These two men, Darren Appleton, desperate to win it, having been to the final before. Mark Selby, 28 in the world of snooker, and likewise just as desperate to become a pool world champion.